Have you guys thought about, as much as we think about diet, have you thought about information diet? I mean, that sounds kind of like crazy, but actually, it's a really worthwhile concept because it just basically talks about what is it that we're consuming in terms of information, and I think that's a really worthwhile question to ask. For example, recently, or probably in the last 12 months or so, I've really had a epiphany around information and how much stuff we consume. There's an interesting fact for you. So our granddad generation, so three generations away, so back in the 30s, 40s, 50s kind of time, a a person would have taken a whole lifetime to receive the information that we right now get in one day. I mean, that's crazy statistics in terms of how bombarded we are with information. And actually, most of them are pretty crap, to be honest. It's just marketing, advertising, bad news on the news, what's happening somewhere, somebody stabbed somebody 15 hours away from where you live, all basically either to keep us in fear and keep us that kind of on edge all the time. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is basically to sell us things. So actually, one of the things that I'm suggesting to people is to actually have yourself an information diet, a really a kind of cleansing of where you get your information from, how much information do you get, and actually what are the things that you really need to know where versus what are the things that are just not even relevant, important, need to know, in impact on your lifestyle, impact on your mental health, impact on your kind of decision making, and just also worst of it is waste of your frigging time. So part of that kind of process that I've been doing in the last 12 months are things that I'm going to talk about now. One, the biggest thing that I took a decision, I read that somewhere, it wasn't me that thought about it, around removing notification on your phone. So you know those little red dots that you get to see. It's like a dopamine hit from a kind of an addict perspective. So every time you see a little red button or light sign, you're addicted. We're Pavlov's dog. So we, instead of the kind of the ringing of the bell of Pavlov's dog, if anybody knows and remembers that kind of study where the bell was ringing and people and the dogs were salivating even before seeing the food. So you're conditioned to kind of this kind of sound in that experiment. Here we're conditioned to the either the ping notification or the actual red dot. How much time is wasted, and you can't help yourself. You have to press on the button, then you are taken away on their apps and wasting time on that. So first thing I would say that I did was remove, and you can do that. You go into your settings, go into notification, and then make it painful for you to do, whether it's the iPhone or the actual company, that because it's all one big cahoot, right? So they make it quite difficult for you to stop this notification because it is how they monitor how much time you're spending on their app. So you get a notification, you click on it, you then spend time on their app, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and then an hour later you're still on it. So first thing is I took out the notification, and actually that freed me up a lot of time by not wasting and getting distracted. One. Second, I've just been doing, and again I'm doing it again today, is to unsubscribe on all of these generic emails that we keep getting in our inbox. You went trampolining one time with your kids, and then all of a sudden for the next 12 months they're still sending you offers and kind of irrelevant information. So, and again, it's another thing to delete every morning. It sounds little and petty, but if you do keep doing that over and over again, you're wasting so much time and effort to even read and digest the information as well. So get rid of all of those. Take some time to unsubscribe to all of those, and that will free up a lot of information for you, I should say. And also, really just check in with yourself to say, well, which are the content that you want to actually receive. So whether that's on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever else, don't just blindly follow things because you were interested in it 5 years ago. Unfollow things and actually only follow people or companies that you're interested in or you want to learn from, or whatever the reason why is. So maybe have an information diet on that as well. So only follow in my view, people who either teach you things you learn from, are upbeat and positive, rather than following, I don't know, news outlets that are continually telling you how many people are dying all over the world, and how yeah, how shit the world is at the moment. So, in fact, I've done that with the kids. A few years ago, even before COVID, everybody was tuning to the news, BBC News, and all that stuff. We stopped doing all of that now. So, my whole idea is, if the news is big enough, and it's been proven now over the last 12, 18 months that we've done this, it will reach you. If something is really worth knowing, somebody somewhere, you would have been told about it. But all of a sudden, the mindset and the mind, kind of the less stress that the kids experiencing, and the adults, including myself, has been phenomenal. So really check in where you're getting the content, which news outlet, if any, you need to be following. Because quite frankly, it's all bad news. Very rarely you'll hear of a good news, something happened that was good and positive in the world. It's all selling bad news to keep us in a state of fear. It really is what it is. So the other thing is, use a note maker was my other one. So I mean, I'm a big fan of Evernote, but there's loads of other note making devices or apps. So get yourself one of those, because you're never going to remember everything you have to do. The only way I'm managing all these things at the same time is having, every time there's something that I need to think about and remember to do, I'll just go onto my Evernote online on my phone or on the computer, jot it down, and then every time I've got some time, I'll go through that list and I'll tick them off, and that makes me become more efficient. In fact, if anything, I've done that across all of my team, whether it's a builder, an electrician, my property managers, and so on. Everybody gets a list. Everybody then ticks their list as they go along as well. So that's kind of my tip about information diet. To really be quite stingy with your time and where you're spending it and what you're doing with it. So get rid of all the stuff, all the distraction. Focus on what you want to work on this year. Have a plan, write it down, put your goals in place, and then execute, and get rid of all the nonsense around. Hope that helps, and let me know what you think.